Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, March 29th, and you can see the potential for winter weather advisories for at least the northern portions of the area becoming more likely. I think temperature profiles and models are a little bit cooler, and we got to watch this. Any more cooling on this storm system, and we could have widespread winter problems across the area with maybe several inches of snow over a large area from around Lansing to the north. Right now, the best bet would be across central Michigan into north central and northern Michigan for the most accumulations, but we got to watch this very close. Now, if the temperature profiles are a little warmer, then we'll see very little in the way of snowfall. But again, this is a potential pretty good snowmaker if the temperatures cool just a little bit more. And you can see as far as the headlines go, we're going to watch for the snow to move into all areas tonight into early tomorrow morning, and then we'll see that transition from south to north from snow to rain. And again, the farther north you get, the longer the snow or the wintry precipitation will hang around. And you can see in the extended outlook for the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 days, you can see warmer than normal with wetter than normal conditions. But it looks like as we get towards the end of the week 2 period, we begin to dry out. And if that happens and we see plenty of sunshine, I think we're going to see temperatures well into the 60s here once we get towards not this weekend, but next weekend or the end of next week. I think we could see some pretty warm temperatures coming up. But again, we'll keep an eye on things. It could change. Our normals for the day, our normal high is 49. The normal low is 29. You can see it got up to a nice warm 83 degrees just a little over 107 years ago. So it's been a while, but it can certainly get quite warm this time of the year. If we look at the warmest and coldest temperatures across the lower 48 yesterday, 100 degrees at Rio Grande Village in Texas, and a cold spot, a relatively mild 13 above at Stanley, Idaho. If we look at the conditions around the MAC and LAC areas for yesterday, you can see temperatures mainly in the upper 40s to the low 50s, a little cooler as you get over towards Lake Huron with some of that lake influence with some of the easterly components that we see now that storm's beginning to develop, and it'll be moving into the Ohio Valley. We'll see quite a bit of a north-northeast and even northerly wind flow here over the next 24 hours. And if we look at the conditions around the area this morning, you can see temperatures mainly in the low 30s across the area. This area in yellow that's shaded, I think, is the area we got to watch for at least the potential for snowfall accumulations, basically from around the Lansing area off to the north. But I think your best bet is once you get up towards Mount Pleasant, Clare, Harrison. I think that's going to be the epicenter. From there to the northeast towards Oscoda, Tawas, that areas I think could see maybe even 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. But we got to watch for that potential, even across mid-Michigan, as again, this kind of a situation, while it is not real likely, could produce some very heavy snowfall rates. Wouldn't even be surprised tomorrow to hear somebody talk about they got thunder and lightning with some of the snowfall, as again, some of these precipitation rates could be quite heavy, and if it's in the form of snow, it could accumulate rather quickly. If we look at the radar this morning, you can see lots of moisture now streaming up into the Central Plains area. And again, as that storm system moves from around the Texas-Oklahoma area up into central or northern Indiana and Ohio, that's going to spread that precipitation into our area, and we're going to have a cold high pressure system off to the north, and that's going to feed some northeast cold low-level wind flow into the state. And that's why the areas, I think, from mid-Michigan off to the northeast into portions of northeast lower Michigan over towards the northern thumb areas. Again, I think those are the areas that will be under the gun for the potential for snowfall amounts. And if we look at the satellite view this morning, notice the very ends of these storms where they come to a point. Those are from very violent, probably tornadic storms across much of southern and central Texas. And again, very violent storms this morning moving across the deep south, and we expect that to continue over the next couple of days as lots of severe weather is expected. On the weather map this morning, you can see the low pressure system gathering strength now in the Texas-Oklahoma area. And again, it's going to be heading off to the northeast, spreading a lot of moisture out of the Gulf over this into the cold air. And again, the potential for mixed precipitation or snow basically from south central or southern Wisconsin into much of lower Michigan here, especially as we get into the overnight hours into tomorrow. You can see the rain snow line actually quite far south, at least to begin with, and then as the low pressure moves off to the northeast, it will occlude, so that will prevent any warm air from really getting too far north. But again, if you're in mid-Michigan off to the north, it could be a pretty interesting next 24 to 36 hours with the potential for some accumulating snow. And again, look at all the severe storms all the way from the Ohio Valley down to the deep south. And if we look at the forecast map by Friday, that low pressure system now will begin to include, fill, and weaken as it moves to the northeast. But by that time, lots of the areas off in northern Michigan could see plenty of snow across the area. And if we look at the precipitation amounts here over the next 72 hours, you can see many areas around an inch as you get into southern lower Michigan, and that area heavier precipitation has moved north since yesterday. Now many areas across mid-Michigan, north central lower Michigan could be around 3/4 of an inch, and you can see the concern if much of that falls in the form of snow, we could see quite a bit of accumulations. Again, best bet is that won't be the case, maybe a couple of inches off into the north area, but some of the models will print out about 4 or 5 inches of snow all the way down to the Alma, Mount Pleasant area or towards Saginaw. So that's something worth watching here as we go through the night tonight into tomorrow. As far as snowfall, yesterday's GFS forecast you can see had central Wisconsin into north central and northern Michigan picking up the bulk of the snow. This morning's run, you can see it shifted quite a bit of the heavier snow, 4 inches across much of the mid-Michigan area, all the way down into portions of the southern thumb area where they could see 2 to 4 inches as well. Even some areas around 6, 7, and even 8 inches across the area around Oscoda down into towards Aranet County and Bay City. Again, so this will be potentially a very interesting system. Again, I think when that snow begins to move from south to north, as it moves in, and we could see some pretty heavy snowfall rates, at least for a brief period. And as far as weather watch this morning, again, basically quiet out there for right now. Just a couple areas of fog advisory, but again, this is the area that I'm highlighting for the potential. I think we'll see some winter weather advisories across some of these areas. Again, it's hard to pinpoint, and it's going to depend a lot on the temperature profile, but again, it could be an interesting 24 to 36 hours coming up. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.